Okay, I'm curious to see if I can learn an opening making some videos about it. The idea is to learn the English C4 because it's a very interesting opening. It's practically a reverse of a Sicilian if black plays E5, and it can be quite dangerous because often the problem is that the player doesn't know or plays the usual pawn structures. When they find something that is a pawn structure they don't know, they misplay it, and so it's very easy to win for that reason. So here we start with the C4, C5, that is called the Symmetrical English. Now white plays knight f3. Why? Because the idea is to push d4, and the idea is to push d4 because we want to destroy the symmetrical pawn structure that black tends to create. This is very important because it's really drawish against the symmetrical English. It can be a problem to play against black. Instead, if we have some ideas, it can be very easy to win in a sense. So knight f3 was made with the idea to play d4. Okay. Now, for the moment we watch this, then we will watch knight c6, g6. So I did analyze b6, e6. There are obviously a lot of continuation that I want to do and that I want to cover. For the moment, let's go with knight f6, okay? After knight x6, like I said, white continues with d4, c takes d4, but here the most common reply is e6 because black is keeping the tension, and there is also the possibility to play d5. But this could transpose to a line that I will analyze later. Okay, so for the moment let's go with c takes d4, knight takes d4, and of course once more black has different choices, but for the moment let's take out the knight and see knight c6. So this is what would be called a tabia, okay? A position, a typical position of the symmetrical English. Now, white needs to continue with e3 because the line knight c3, e6 seems that black gets a good play. And so this move, it's kind of counterintuitive, unnatural, because we are blocking the bishop c1, okay? But in reality it's really a good move because the bishop c1 will not be blocked for a long time, so that's not the problem. Now in this I will continue with this g6, but I want to show you also e5 because this is very important. This e5 is rare at master level. White continues with knight b5 because the threat obviously is knight d6. Bishop b4, check. Knight 1 c3, d6, a3, bishop takes c3, knight takes c3, bishop g4, bishop e2, bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, d5. In this way black is freeing his game, but white continues with this because this is still in the center. D takes e4, queen takes e4, castle, and rook d1. The idea is obviously queen b3, bishop d2, and bishop e1. White in this kind of position as kind of a queenside initiative. Yes, probably the problem that the bishop at the moment is kind of locked inside, so it will be strong if it gets free. Okay, so now let's return back and let's try again to remember the moves. Okay, I will not pause because that's the point. We need to remember the moves that brought us here, if they are logical or not, and that's the most important thing. Okay, so it's an exercise into remembering the moves that were played. So we said c4, okay, the symmetrical English is c5, knight f3 because the idea is to push this. Knight f6 again is trying to keep the symmetry, okay, but we don't let that happen, okay, because now we play d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight c6, e3, okay, yes, I'm correct. And now we just saw e5, what happens on e5, but the line I'm going to play is on g6. Okay, so g6, what's the next move by white? Knight c3. Bishop g7, obviously if he played g6 it's because he wants to develop the bishop on this side. And now queen b3. Why is this move played? Because white wants to stop black from playing d5. Okay, so now he has 1, 2, 3, and here there are only 1, 2. So that's why. So queen b3 is played for that reason. Okay, but there is also another way probably to do it, but let's see. He could have played this. This is also a way to stop d5. So after queen b3, castle, and what happens if black still play this? This would be a pawn sacrifice, and black needs to find a compensation for it. Probably not very easy. Not very easy. What happens after this is c takes d5, knight takes d4, e takes d4, castle, bishop c4, and as you can see white is able to defend the pawn d5, so I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but in any case let's return to the position. The position was like this. This was black back, this was here, this was here, this was here, and this was still not castled, so that's the position. Okay, let's see if I'm correct. Yeah, so let's see. Now after queen b3 black plays castle, bishop e2, and why white played bishop e2? Because he wants to put the rook here on d1, okay, and also it's always to discourage this d7 d5. So, however, black continue the plan of pushing on d5 with b6, because bishop b7, knight takes d4, and then d5, because yes, 1, 2, 3. So that's the reason, okay? Let's continue. Castle, bishop b7, rook d1, and the white is continuing the plan. Knight takes d4, e takes d4. I think at this point we have broken the symmetry. Okay, d5, what black wanted to play for a while, and now there is c5, bishop c6, and c takes b6. After queen takes b6, we have bishop f4, because we want to control b8, queen takes b3, a takes b3. And now, yes, he has double pawn, but the thing is that he will play b4 and b5. Not only, he will double the rooks on the a file, okay, something like this, no? Rook a5, rook a1, and also this would help to do the pushing. And so I think the plan for white is this initiative on the queen side. That could be interesting. Okay, and this was one line to play against the symmetrical answer in the English.